Hello and welcome to the Driving in Wyoming podcast. This is Aaron Turpin from AaronOnAutos.com. Today we're going to talk about the 2014 Fiat 500L. Everything about the Fiat 500 series is different. They are very unique in their look. They're reminiscent of the long ago mini cars that BMW used to produce, and also of one of my personal favorites, the Citroën Deux Chevaux. But the 500 is entirely Italian. The larger and more versatile 2014 Fiat 500L is the same iconic 500 with a longer wheelbase and a larger interior. It adds 2 doors, a larger back seat, and more cargo space. The drivetrain and the appeal of the vehicle are all still there, though. The 2014 500L gains about 2 feet over the smaller 500, making it a compact wagon on the order of today's Mini Cooper Countryman, which is the vehicle it gets most compared to. That's mainly due just to the squarish shape they both have and their European heritage. Like the Cooper, the 500L has huge appeal among the female crowd. I should mention that because I couldn't go anywhere in this car without women of all types and all ages asking me about the car or looking it over when they thought I wasn't looking. Beyond that, though, the looks of the Fiat 500L can't really be broken into pieces because when you look at individual parts of the car, like the headlamps or the abrupt changes from the hood line to the windshield to the roof, those all individually are just hideous. But when you put them all together in this package, all those ugly parts become a kind of a great looking whole. I mean, this car has an appeal that you can't really describe well. It's just not easy to talk about without somebody seeing the car to understand it. But it's a very, very pretty car. Like I said, women really like this car. And for men, it's actually not that bad. I actually enjoyed this vehicle, and it's a good family-sized car. It's not too small for that. In fact, let's talk about that. The inside of the 2014 Fiat 500L is very much roomier than you would expect looking at it from the outside. It looks small but capable on the outside, but inside it just feels huge. A lot of that is because it has a square shape and the large panoramic roof, which is great. I would always recommend those if you have an option. And the body just feels wide because the doors are slightly bulging, and so it just gives just a little bit more elbow room inside the car. Fiat's designers didn't miss any of this either. When the exterior of the car was done and they looked at the insides, they didn't miss any of the options. Entry and egress is great. The interior ergonomics are very well considered, and the 500L just is generally competent. When you open the door and get in, you're not going to be wowed by anything in the car, but you're going to immediately know that everything is satisfactory, everything is good. And in the end, that's what sells cars. Wow factor does not sell a car. Cargo room is very good and on par with any other vehicle in this class. The back seat will easily accommodate 2 child safety seats. You can also get 3 children's booster seats. We tried that. And also you can sit 2 large-size adults comfortably back there. You could get 3 people back there if one of them is small or if they don't mind squeezing a little bit. So it's on par with most other vehicles that are of this size and type. I would very much recommend the Beats Audio package. If you are into music, you really want your stereo, Beats Audio is really the way to go. It's offered as a premium option for the audio system in this. We had it in our test model. Great stuff. Under the hood, what's powering this car is a little 1.4-liter inline 4-cylinder that's turbocharged. It's an Italian engine, and it's hard to explain this to people, but one of the real appeals to an Italian engine is the way it sounds. When you open the hood and you have it at idle, you open that hood, you'll hear that. It's just a great signature sound you'll only hear on an Italian engine. I made a little video of that. I'll link to it down. You can see it. On the road, though, the engine turbocharges its way up to 160 horsepower and goes through a 6-speed transmission. Manual transmission is standard on all but the lounge trim, and the dual-clutch Euro automatic is a preferred option and is an option on all of them, and it comes standard in that lounge trim. By American standards, this Euro-style automated shifting is a little weird. It will feel weird to you at the beginning. It's not like a weird, like the car's going to shake apart. It just feels different at low speeds, but once you get going, you'll realize that it is the smoothest shifting you could find anywhere. You will not find smoother shifting outside of other European cars. Usually those are going to be in the premium segments. So we're talking like Mercedes and Beamer and things like that. It's a beautiful transmission, very, very well done. Just feels very good. Now, when you're driving the Fiat 500L, if you are a race car style driver, you will immediately notice that it has a lot of understeer. If you do not drive like that, which is 99% of the population, you will never see that and it won't matter to you. When you're on the road with this car, it does fairly well in the snow. We had a good amount of snow while I had it here in eastern Wyoming, and it did very well. It did as good as any front-wheel drive vehicle will do. So you will not be disappointed with this car. As long as you're not trying to go off-road, it will be able to do it. It's very competent to drive, very simple. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles when you're doing the work of driving, and it just does it well. So most cars can say that, so there's really nothing to knock about this car. You know, it doesn't have the shiny extras that you'll find on other vehicles, but those are all options that really you won't find them in a vehicle that costs this much. You'll have to pay more for it. Competition for this car, really the only competing vehicle is probably that Mini Countryman that we mentioned earlier. And this is larger, has more luggage room, has more fun factor, and better fuel economy than the Mini. So it beats it hands down. The Nissan Juke may be a competitor here, but the Juke is smaller and it's a crossover. It's a slightly different segment, slightly different vehicle, so I don't think it's a direct comparison. I've also seen the 500L compared to a Mazda 5. We own a Mazda 5 and they are nothing alike. The Mazda 5 is a minivan. It's a small minivan, sure, but it's still a minivan, has sliding doors, has a third row option, all that stuff. You will not find that in the Fiat 500L. But you will find that the 500L is a lot more fun to drive because a minivan is a minivan and is not made to be fun. So to sum it all up, the 2014 Fiat 500L is a very fun vehicle with a lot of practicality to go with that Italian appeal. Unlike the guy at the singles bar with that fake Italian accent, though, the little 500L is truly interesting and is actually worth taking home. So for the Driving in Wyoming podcast, this has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com. Talk to you again soon.